Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
He would like be a good person.
Yeah, so
I don't even know, what does a producer do?
So I was gonna say you are probably have hints of being a producer in the sense of like when you like say, oh, I want to finance my friend's fucking projects.
I wish I could.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like that idea is a producer. That like, but again, like you say, come out of your pocket. But I would say a producer can look at a thing, and I've got a producer mindset, and go like, oh, I can bring these resources or network this in a way so that it gives it life and gives it some energy. And then once those things are networked, then maybe somebody in there can bring money. Or, you know what I mean? That's what a producer is. Basically, here, let's mic you up.
Oh, yeah.
It's already recording. You'll figure that out.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if only I could. This is just like pure fantasy, I guess. Mm-hmm. But like if I could.
I mean, you don't need to wear your mask inside, right?
Yeah, I can take this off.
Right, just because it'll interfere.
I hate I hate these masks that tie.
Well, that's why I'm doing the bandana, right?
Yeah, I'll do a bandana, but I have these masks that are just like, loop around the ears, and they're just all really dirty.
Yeah, they're gross.
Yeah,
that's why I have a shit ton of bandanas.
Look at this fucking thing. I really a year ago would not have thought.
Hey, bud. Look at that. Come here. You ate all that chicken. You're such a good boy.
Is it recording now?
Yeah, it's recording. Oh, here, let me do a mark.
Should we do some
Let me do a mark real quick. Here, hold on a second. And just a sec. Mark? Nope, that's not good. Mark? Great. I just need to be able to sync up the two mics.
I'm realizing that I think I need to call Masha.
Great. Masha's amazing.
Her dad passed away.
That's right. I saw something.
Yeah, I'm not... So, what's the etiquette of that? I have to... I had a moment, actually, while we were driving, and it was just a very strong intuition, while we're processing all of this stuff, I need to call her. But we're not really close. So
I would say send a text.
Yeah.
And what I found that was always the best thing that anybody said to me when I was going through my grief is hey, let me know if you need anything. Just basically that, or I'm sorry for what you're going through, or whatever. Just a little bit of saying, hey, I see, but really the offer of help was the most powerful thing for me. Just a person saying, if there's anything you need, let me know. Because even in the moment when somebody would say that, a lot of times I'd say, oh, I just need a hug, or I need I'm hungry. Would you want to go out to eat sometime? It really became this kind of very simple position that allowed me to easily ask for help if I needed it.
Yeah.
So you just text her hey, I heard your father died.
Yeah.
If you need anything, let me know.
I messaged her on Instagram of that I was so sorry and that I was sending love, but I just had a moment where I was I want to offer more somehow. I want to actually talk to her.
Well, just give her a call.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is if it's overwhelming, I was trying to think about how losing a parent seems crazy monumental, and I wouldn't want to cold call someone.
No, but it's good. But I would say that she's ultimately going to take care of herself, right?
Yeah.
And if she answers your phone call, you can just be like, hey, how are you doing? And she just the simplest. Don't overwhelm anybody. Ask them if they need anything. How are you doing? Yeah. And then on some levels, it'll open up if she has something she wants to say, something she wants to present. Then she'll give it to you. And also, just the gesture, just the reaching out, just the calling. And, if she has the emotional space to take your call, she'll take your goddamn call.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We're not super close, but, I don't know. But she's just, really sweet. I didn't realize that she regarded me as, a good friend.
Yeah.
But after so many times, visiting their house, her and Alaska have, stayed here twice, on 2 different road trips so far, and, last time she was just she was oh, I miss you, and she, hugged me, and I was damn, you guys are my friends.
So it's interesting, I think, because she's Russian, she has a very reserved nature. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't understand us native Angelinos are just like, oh, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
We're so... But the fact that she's in this community and she's with somebody like Alaska means she has... It's like this vetting. She's been vetted by all of these things. And, you know what, every time I talk to her, she's more than willing to be, like, very honest and open and vulnerable.
Yeah, no, she's great. I guess I just feel like feeling people out is hard. I think I also...
Russians are even harder.
I don't know. I have, like, no preconceptions about, like, Russians. I, like, don't really know.
Oh, I would just say they're just a very reserved people. You want me to give you a...
Yes.
I got man hands.
Fuck yeah. I'm going to chop up some of this.
Ooh,
like,
jalfrezi. I love.
My partner, like, finally showed me how to chop one of these, and it changed my fucking life. How to chop a squash and zucchini, like, properly, lengthwise. Chopping things lengthwise has changed my life lately. I don't know why it took me, like, almost 30 years to figure out.
Well, it's not intuitive.
Okay,
Grandpa.
anyway.
Talk
My
about
grandpa's
Grandpa.
death. Okay, well, I feel like, so my grandpa died, it was like in August, and I guess it was like at the beginning of August. It's really hard, it was still a blur, like I don't actually know what date it was, but it was like a couple months ago.
Well, it'll be on a monument somewhere.
Dude, he's like, he got interred at like the, here, where's that? Yeah, he's got interred at the cathedral in LA. He did so like, I don't know. And I don't know how it comes across when I talk about these things. I just think it's wild. Like, it costs like, I think it's like $10,000 to get like a plot like there. But he did a lot of fundraising, so they gave him and my grandma are basically.
Yeah,
it's
great.
so beautiful. It was so nuts. He had 2 cardinals do his funeral.
Fuck yeah! Did one
he had
tag
the current
out?
guy, and then Mahoney came out of retirement to do it. Which
Because he knew him.
which is so gross. But like, I guess.
Hey, but again, yes, Mahoney's super gross, but the fact that he knew him is like I have a friend who his father was the highest ranking civilian in the Department of Defense Transportation, like the Eastern, like he was just a guy he monitored all of the traffic on the Eastern Seaboard. Like he was aware of just about every plane and boat coming in to America from the East. Mm-hmm. So he was the highest ranking DoD civilian. 3 of the 4 living presidents at the time when he retired sent certifications sent a letter saying, oh, you know, thank you, Brian, for your service. Like, it just always blows me away that I know a guy who was on a first name basis with Jimmy Carter, you know. This is like, you do your job, you work, and it's like, it has these profound effects on the world around you.
Well, it's interesting. Like, I mean, for me, I think I've like sort of met a lot of artists who, I've definitely met artists who were like celebrities to me when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you just meet people, and it's just like, okay. My grandpa definitely rubbed shoulders with a lot of like very important people, and I mean, I don't know. He went to the Bohemian Grove and stuff, like so. Yeah, there, like, all the, like, most powerful men, like, in the country, like...
Yeah. Would fucking jerk off in front of a fucking owl.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard that there was a lot of, like, because there was no women, that there was a lot of, like, kind of, you know, whatever, fucking naked dudes running around in the forest together.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, I think, like, it's funny because it's a lot of, like, I think the scandalousness is just, like, you know... I was talking to... Who was I talking... Like, my Aunt Mo actually put it really well, which is just, like, imagine that you're fucking Bill Clinton. You know? You can't even get a blowjob without, like...
The news. Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, the Bohemian Grove is, like... Yes, we can see it in this way of it's, like, this dark magic sort of zone, but also it's, like, imagine you're Bill Clinton, and you just want to go party with
With some bros.
you just want to get a little too drunk and pee in the bushes.
Sure.
Without anyone fucking taking a picture of you. And that's like really what it is.
No, I think that's 80% of it, but I would say the
that's like
putting on the funny masks and the funny robes, there is something to that.
It's energy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the whole cremation of care ceremony.
I mean, and there's like those photos from the Bohemian Grove of like, I think it was like people involved in the Manhattan Project were like all like sort of sitting together. Mm-hmm. I think that there's like networking that leads to some pretty major decisions. It's just like an Elks Club or fucking Lions Club or whatever, but it just happens to be this ultra elite, Yeah. So my grandpa, he was like one of those, and it's funny because like it's really just like my grandpa was so much cooler than so many of those people. I don't know. He was just...
Well, but that's, in a weird way, him being part of the group, like, they kind of want access to people like him, right? When you're a famous artist, producer, actor, whatever, what people are paying for is just to be able to sit at your table.
Yeah. My grandpa had so much, like, he was just a, like... I don't know. People describe him as like the consummate host. Sure. Like he would throw these like lavish parties, but he was also like a show off. Like he fucking co-designed this like amazing house, and like he was like a collector of antiques. So his house was just full of like beautiful things, and he would like cook like 5-course meals for people, like with assistant chefs he would hire.
In a weird way, he was kind of the last of the Renaissance men.
Yeah.
Like was able to be. And in a weird way, like what you were talking about with your grandmother, like the modern world almost broke him. The modern world does not accept exceptional men living exceptionally. Because we're looking at our fucking schmuck of a goddamn president.
I think that my grandpa's life, like for who he was and what he wanted, I think it was almost perfect. I just think the piece that was missing was like true love. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that like I don't even know anymore if he was definitely a narcissist. But I think my grandma's mental illness is really the cause of a lot of the family stuff.
Sure.
I always blamed my grandpa. I was always like, because it's easy, because it's like...
He's the big guy. He's the man. He's the symbol.
Yeah, and my grandma's whole life was in service of... in his shadow and stuff, and like, I always heard stories of how he was like, just... all he wanted was for like my mom and my aunt, like he didn't care what they were passionate about. He just wanted them to look good at the parties. But like... the person who was really enforcing those needs was my grandma. Yeah. So, yeah.
So it probably I will say almost like maybe he even didn't even really necessarily care that much, but she was, because she's a narcissist, she might have even subvertively got him to agree to those things. You know what I mean? Like, because again, like, I feel like a good loving father doesn't necessarily, like, put on a nice dress for the party, but isn't going to be like...
I don't think he was a good loving father. I think, he wasn't a non-loving father. He was just very, like... He was just uninvolved.
Yeah, he's playing like a fucking dad from the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my mom has an eating disorder because, like... my grandpa would always like sort of look at her and be like, "You would be so cute if you just lost 10 pounds."
Boo.
Yeah.
Like,
and my mom has like a huge complex about that. So that's like the kind of dude he was.
Yeah. He's a bad man. He's a fucking what John Hamm's character's name?
But he's like complex, because he was also like just such his whole, I really think he was an artist, like first and foremost, because he created everything about his life and his lifestyle was created from nothing. Like, he came from nothing. Like,
really?
Yeah, he was born in Louisiana to, like, a super poor family. His dad was, like, a railroad worker, and his mom was a homemaker, and he had he grew up in, like, a house where all the siblings were in one room and, like, had to, like, pretty much figure out how to, like, he made his way. Like, he would, like, I've heard stories about how when he was, like, 10 years old, like, he would go to the dump and he would, like, salvage antiques and sell them on the street.
Wow.
To make money for his family.
Hustler.
Yeah, so, yeah, and he, like, worked his way up the ranks, and like my grandpa's real like big thing was like he went to law school. He became an estate lawyer, so that's what he did. He like managed the estates of people. Yeah. So I think what happened really was that like he was such a like he had so much charisma and like was just such a
because he's from fucking goddamn Louisiana.
Yeah, he just had that like
everybody
he had so
from
much flair and like was just he basically like charmed people. And I think what happened, his first kind of like big break-ish like into the elite was when he was the lawyer for what's his name, the Woody Woodpecker guy, the guy for the animator who fucking
it'll come to me. Not Tex Avery.
No, not Tex
the other
Avery.
one.
Why do I always forget his name? He's like very important to my family.
Because that was the first big.
Yeah, well, basically, like he didn't have any children or anything, so like him and his wife basically left their estate. They put my grandpa in charge of his trust, and we're basically like donate this to like the arts, you know.
Oh,
so
wow.
My grandpa went from being just like estate planner guy to like being like in charge of this like
massive estate, and then he ended up doing that for multiple people. So he just like started to hang out with like all those people, and he just adopted a lot of their like he just like saw things and that he liked, and then he did them himself. Like a great story about my grandpa. My Aunt Mo says that like he did paint like at one point. Like he did so many things, but she said that like because I was asking her about his paintings. I'm like, what did he paint? And she was like, well, I don't really remember them being like sort of like he had a photographic memory. So he would like go places and he would see a painting on the wall that he liked. And then he would like go buy like house paint and then like replicate it. Okay.
And like hang it in their house. And so he did a lot of replications of like fancy paintings. And I think that that's such a good like sort of symbol of my grandpa, is how he did things. He just sort of like saw it, liked it, and then did it his way. And like kind of developed. So we grew up with all these like
inspiring
weird ass traditions where like my family, I totally thought it was normal that on holidays, like we would like get dressed up in black tie and have 5-course dinners with waiters.
Yeah, well.
That's how I grew up. That's like my mom's, like my grandpa's whole thing was like he would hire, and he never just did family stuff. He always invited his clients and friends and people.
So we should at some point do just you and I maybe like once a month get on Zoom or something like that.
Yeah.
And just do like an oral history, an oral biography of your grandfather. Because I think like if you like talk to Mo and talk to various people, you can start piecing together. Because I think it's, again, like talk about producing. Here's, and I think podcast or audio, like oral story is much better than an actual biography.
Yeah.
Because then it puts you in the position of having to kind of like being a folklorist, but the folklore that you're trying to discover is your grandfather.
Yeah, in a way.
There's an interesting idea about that around there.
I think with like my sort of pattern recognition and obsession with like understanding stories, because like I like always want to know like what the story is, so I kind of like tell it over and over in my head. Like the more information I get, like I rewrite it, I revise it, figure it out.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I just am obsessed with the story of my family. It helps me understand myself.
Yeah.
And I think all of our families have stories, like that are really complex. And I do think that archetypes and like symbols and stuff like are helpful for that. So like it's crazy because like I don't really do mystic things. Like I don't do tarot readings, but I love the symbolism of the tarot because I think that like I can see it reflected in people. Sure. So like I don't like work with tarot cards, but like I see like my grandpa is like the emperor. So I feel like like different people kind of like embody that. And so I think that that's something about like folklore that like, and I'm still sort of working it out. Like I don't fully understand it, but like I think
Yeah, but I'm also even just mentioning this, even from, let's say, as an artist. I mean, you've got this one medium you're working in right now with this illustration, but maybe there is another way of exploring, yourself as an art producer, whatever.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, of course, I think it's a fascinating story because anytime, a powerful man or how could I say, like he did bring something to the world. And so in his passing, there's a way of honoring that. And I think also for you, like, maybe like I'll pitch this idea. Like think of 10 or a dozen people who you could rely on to talk for maybe an hour about your grandfather.
Oh, I can think of that.
Yeah. And then fucking set up appointments to start interviewing them on Zoom. It just the lowest, smallest thing that you can do is just get them on Zoom, record the Zoom. You've got it. Then you can figure out what to do with it next. Edit it, publish it, whatever. But then that way you start, at least while he's fresh in his grave, you now have this opportunity to start exploring his life without having to sift through history, because right now you're at a place where his living memory is still there, Again, just get him on Zoom, fucking talk to me for an hour and a half.
I'm definitely and I do have this, I definitely have this, very, it's kind of I don't know if it's something I actually want to do, but how maybe I could write a graphic novel about my family one day. Sure. But I have to wait for a lot of them to die because I think that
it's too embarrassing.
Huh?
It's too embarraing for them. No.
Yeah, it's personal.
No.
It's really personal. And my mom would take, if I told my take on things, she'd probably be offended, and my aunt would maybe kill herself. So I just think
I don't think you have that much power. Two things. Number one, I think people estimate higher the power of the telling the truth. But a lot of times, if you give people also the power, let's say, to respond to that, then it may not be as devastating as you think. But also, do you know Lady Beaver? Does this name mean anything to you?
Oh, yeah, I've met her.
Yeah. How do you...
We're at the Hive Gallery.
At the Hive, that's okay. Yeah, of course, the Hive.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that we haven't really had any sort of deep interactions.
So she was my roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I follow her on Instagram.
Yes.
And so I see her posts. I like her. She dances a lot.
She's ridiculous. She's ridiculous. I love her. But she, somehow I've definitely made it into her comic books, which is great. But I'm also, the way I live and the way I'm presented and stuff is I have no problem with people. I try to live with such integrity that if you were to put something in the comic book that is truth, then I'm going to be like, yeah, I did that. That's who I am. This is what I'm saying. Why I bring her up is if you put in this graphic novel, because she puts all of her breakups in her fucking comic books, and she's been on this podcast, by the way.
I was thinking about how I feel like I sort of should be making comics, but
why not?
have really not been sure what comics of mine would look like. But I actually think that my biggest thing that I struggle with is what words to use, because I'm not a writer. But if actually some of the conversation snippets we've had, I could just fucking have a character be saying these verbatim, walking around while a bunch of shit's happening. I actually.
But you look at Simon Hanselman; they've got the things they say are a little bit whatever, just blah. But because of the way it's presented with the art in a very specific way.
Damn, maybe that should be my thesis.
Did we just happen on your thesis?
Yeah, I think I'm going to write a graphic novel.
Yeah. About your family, maybe about your grandfather. And if you approach it
based on oral histories.
Yeah.
I mean, I could work with you on collecting them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Possibly.
Yeah, let's figure it out. Because again, simple enough. Let's say me and you and whoever your family member is, we get on a Zoom together and we just hit record and just hey, just tell us, some stories about Grandpa. Yeah. Tell us whatever, and then the other thing is you get some boilerplate questions what's your first memory, blah blah blah. You just have these boilerplate questions. Then while you're in the moment, and I'm an pretty good interviewer, in the moment, if something occurs to you, you have an intuitive hit, dig into that moment, like when it happens. Yes, you have these fucking outlines or these questions you want to ask, but if it goes on a tangent where some other story comes out, just let the other person talk and be like, oh, okay, oh. Like, I don't know, I did a little bit, I did a tiny bit today, but more like all I wanted you to do at certain points was just continue down the path you were on. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I don't want to interrupt this. I want to just like, keep going. Because that's where the juicy stuff comes out. Yeah. Yes, you could have a prompt of like, what's your favorite color? And then you ask, well, why? And then you get into some stuff, but then it's like 3 or 5 minutes down that path where the interesting stuff comes out.
Yeah. But I actually feel like just what we started recording just now while I've been cooking is maybe like
the first chapter
for a podcast. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That would be cool. I don't know like how I would do it, but like I do actually think that maybe writing a graphic novel is something that I could do with my time in grad school.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things where as a graphic novel, I look at it like this, as like, so I always think of things as like television or film, right? But a graphic novel, it could be just like a storyboard for some larger work, whatever that is.
But I like a lot of like really, and another thing too is like, because I've been really wanting to like do a series of illustrations called like Insect Carnival. Mm-hmm. That's like my dream. That's what I thought I wanted to do. But I also could make Insect Carnival be, because it could be like, I feel like comics are so experimental these days. Like I could totally have it be like somewhat about my family history, but then also
Insect
about
Carnival
deep ecology and queer ecology and stuff, which is like also what
I think for sure. I think it's like, and of course if you kind of play in this, what I always call like, it's like mumblecore meets magical realism, right? So there's like a lot of movies like, have you seen Safety Not Guaranteed with Aubrey Plaza and Mark Duplass? So it's about this guy. So she's working at this fucking independent fucking Seattle newspaper, and like there's an ad. It's like blah blah time travel. Come join me on this thing. Safety not guaranteed. So they're like investigating this guy who they may think is like a kook, right? And so what it is, but what it is it's so they're having this kind of like sweet kind of get to know each other kind of relationship, but then there's this fantastical thing that happens at the end, and I think, like using personal history and intermingling it with your own, insect carnival plus this kind of also, this hero worship of your grandfather, like it's
and my grandma's mental illness
and your grandma's mental
There's
illness.
Just so much. I think my family is actually really fascinating.
Oh sure, and I think family is a great topic.
Yeah,
I mean
okay, imagine if I'm like creating works that are like this, and instead of worrying about like writing, I can just start to put dialogue like onto the drawings, and then can like cut them up and use them for craft a narrative from them later.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Because you're already creating, and again, like then you also get the opportunity of, let's say, you could do some rotoing of pictures of your family, like have some rotoed things that then maybe they're interacting with these fantastic beasts, That's the other, because again, like this is the spiritual landscape that you're playing with, right? Because in a weird way, this insect carnival is your family, on some levels.
Yeah, I guess this
is the extruded essence of whatever.
I think that it's like just like
three generations of
patterning, and like I think that there's like this parallel of like me using my pattern recognition to like my pattern recognition abilities to just like explore and worship the natural world and like kind of like come to terms with this like anthropocenic like crazy ass time, but then also like figure out my family stuff.
Your family dynamic.
So that could be what I do, and then that would make grad school really justified, because it's just like, well, I'm just here writing my graphic novel, but then all of the pages will also be pieces that can be like
individual
put in a gallery.
Yes,
and then maybe I can convince some suckers to pay $1,000 for them. I don't know.
Maybe, and also maybe it could be something that ultimately when you do
people
it,
who buy art are not suckers. They're lovely people. But
but again, it's again, talk about a con. It is this delicate con where it's like they want to invest in the beauty, but you got to put on the show. You know what I mean? You got to be like, here's the beauty, you know? So that's the confidence game that we're playing. But I would also say though, you have find people to sponsor you, but also if you are making a graphic novel, then there's something mass produced to be made in that.
Yeah. So at the end,
yeah,
and I don't know,
But again, like if you look at the kind of the history of comics, those individual fucking pages from comics, Superman from the 30s. Those are real artwork that are now traded as commodities.
I would love to have it published by United Dead Artists.
Okay. Well, I think if you get those 3 letters after your name, they will be more likely to. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, United Dead Artists, they literally publish like insane people. No, they make. I fucking love United Dead Artists. They're just like my favorite publisher, and they're in France. And I have to do it before Blanket dies, but I don't.
We'll just pitch them.
I think this is what I'm supposed to do. I think I should just like. I think I'm done. Like I don't think I need to experiment. I think I just need to like tell everyone like I am writing a graphic novel and this is what I'm doing.
It's a generational story told through the insect carnival or something like that. Yeah. And I also think though this multimedia aspect, like let's say us interviewing your family to get these stories, why not have a multimedia aspect to it? You know, you could create a podcast or something else adjacent to it. You know, this is the great thing about modern art in the modern world is each actual creation of itself has all of these other ways. You know, it's like a cubist thing. You can see it this direction, you can see it this direction, you can listen to the audio version of it, or you know, like there's all these different ways of exploring the idea that's not, but at the heart of it is this mystical, intuitive thing that you've extruded on the page. You know, like you've poured these fucking forms.
Yeah.
But then these forms then take on this kind of mythological thing once it's contextualized in this different way.
Yeah, I think also like thinking about how I always think about like my artwork as a spell. You know, I am sort of trying to sort of use good magic to like banish the evil spirit, the bad spirits, and like all of the things in my family. And I think that is part of it, making it even more overt and intentional. Yeah. And it's like super obsessive and personal. Yeah. I just think like, I mean, I think it's like, well, and good thing I didn't peak too soon.
Yes, right? Because you needed to find this. Yeah. But also, it's almost like you could, any one of these characters here, just here, because you do have a lot of repeated forms, but they're also distinct in their own way.
Yeah.
I mean, on some levels, whatever, that could be Grandpa, that could be Grandma. You know what I mean? These could be, but then they could also, like I said, you could have the rotoed version of like you see the actual Grandpa, but then when these are speaking, you know, in the magical realm, the words take on this higher form because they're coming out of these magical beasts rather than just from regular faces.
I would love to even interview the beekeepers I know. Just have them be like the voices of the... Just because like I feel like I am kind of trying to draw like for me what would be the property really, which is like these mountains in California. And damn, this is the best day ever.
Awesome.
This is the most important day of grad school that I've fucking had. The most productive day of grad school I've had. And it's just because you came to visit me. But yeah, no, I think that I've been...
In a weird way, I will say, like, this is what I do. You happen to be extremely receptive to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meaning like people that that I want to like help them open their eyes. Again, this like shamanic maybe, but also producer. Like
well, really, I've always I feel like from the moment I met you, I'm just like, oh yeah, I would
figure this out.
I like want to do a journey with you at some point, and I feel like it happened really organically.
Secret, fun, you know, kind of way. And I of course brought the magic penis envies rather than having to do the fucking the garbage mushrooms you have here.
Yeah, but there's something about like being, I don't know, it just like justifies everything. It's just like I'm writing my graphic novel.
Yeah, perfect.
That's why I'm...
Well, and now think of like your obsessive nature. Now you could just be like, hang all of these creative ideas within that. Because that's, I think, once I like can come up with the title of a thing, for me, Space Circus. It's like now, anytime I have an idea about a certain kind of sci-fi thing, it's like, that's the bucket I put it in. Yeah. Because I also think, like, I don't know how many people in MFA programs are actually exploring graphic novels. I mean, there's got to be, because I feel like you're of the generation of zine and graphic novel, young lady. And I think it's a very feminine art too. Even though some of the people that we like are dudes. If you look at like the kind of the rock stars in kind of the independent, kind of like very personal graphic novel zine world, it's mostly like lesbians and queer folk that are trying to, it's a very like, because traditional fucking comic books are very much fucking, whatever, weird fucking homoerotic male fantasies. But the kind of comic books that are much more interesting are these personal, artistic.
Yeah.
You're so excited right now. I love it.
Well, it's just a lot of things are like coming together for me. It's just something where like it's just like there's just stuff and then it just like coalesces and it just all makes sense. And so I'm getting a lot of energy.
I was feeling like it's weird. Like I obviously coming here last night and you're like, I don't know about this, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. I don't know. It's just the way I work.
Well, no, but I don't know. It's just like really good, and like also I used to really want to make comics, and then I sort of had a moment where I was just like, I don't think I'm cut out for this because I could never figure out how to tell stories. But I think that the more mature I get, the more I understand, like, the more art that I look at too, and the more I kind of understand, like, just how storytelling can be so, like,
it doesn't have to be linear. It doesn't have to be chronological.
I mean, I'm literally working on like this epic like presentation on the history of like I'm basically talking about like art. Sorry, I have to pee really bad. I'm just gonna go pee first. Mm-hmm. But sorry, I'm just really excited.
Yeah. Be careful of the your recorder there.
I will. You're gonna have me peeing on your podcast.
I've had me shitting myself on the podcast, so nothing embarrassing about that.
That's crazy that you shat yourself.
It happens. This is the 2020, the year I shat myself twice.
Yeah, I'm going to tell all the faculty, like, literally I'm going to have a studio visit with someone tonight. I'm going to tell her, at 4:30, I'm going to meet with the teacher.
Nice.
And I'm just going to tell her what I'm going to do. Do you want some rice with your curry?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. How much do you want?
No.
It's cold. I feel like, you can, like, microwave it.
Yeah, it's in the micro.
But I just think, like, because I've been sort of revisiting, like, my obsession with, like, comics and, like, kind of experimental comics and stuff. And
but also look at, I'm just going to say this. Like, you say experimental comics, but this, in some level, is a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Like, just, if you look at these weird ways in which this was just put out there.
Yeah.
And again, looking at these illustrations, I'm like, yours are easily as good or comparable. Like yours could have some creepy thing like that going on. That actually looks like it says the word creepy, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And again, it gets to be whatever it wants, and the story comes out from the juxtaposition of all of the images and ideas. Story is easy. If you put two things together, an A and a B, people will start creating the story in their heads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just wonder if there's a way that I could tell it that where, like, instead of having to think too hard about where the words go and, like, what order everything's in, that I can start to catalog it in a way that's as non-linear as my explorations of it are. Like, I think that could be Yeah, I think I've always wanted to I used to want to make comics, like, because I'm obsessed with it, and it's a history I'd be proud to contribute to. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like my family's story just needs to, like I love, like Alison Bechdel, like, fucking, like, her Fun Home is amazing. That's one of my favorite, like, autobio comics, but, yeah. And then, yeah, it can sort of, like, bring together, like, the magical aspect of it, too.
Which, and I think that it's weird, but I feel like the magic almost can allow you to forgive yourself and your family their transgressions, and can allow your family to forgive you exposing them, because it takes place in this folkloric, mythological, magical space. It's taking, let's say, Aunt Mo's fucking alcoholism and making it kind of a graceful thing, a graceful art moment. Because again, you love her, but you see the complication, and expressing that, the magic around that that's what we're here as artists to do, is to figure out how to honor that without it causing too much pain, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the magic.
Yeah, I think there is something about, like, if, like, you use talking animals, then, like, it's a little bit easier. It softens it.
I mean, just think about South Park. South Park is just literally 3 or 4 circles.
Yeah.
That happen to look like a child's head. And they use their ridiculous voices. But they get away with making fun of the darkest, most socially awkward things because they're presenting it through the cartoons. That's why I want to do Space Circus. To me, Space Circus, ultimately, I want it to be an ecological. All of the alien creatures that are in the Space Circus are from planets that are dead because they had some kind of they're the last living version of the thing. And eventually the kid, Dale, learns, like, oh my God, am I on this Space Circus because planet Earth is going to die? And so he has to figure out in his own way how to either get back to Earth to help save Earth or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yes, exactly. Cartoons help you tell the truth in a more direct way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love this. I love this mode that you're in right now. This is fucking amazing.
I'm capable of this. I feel like I haven't felt this way in a while.
Well,
but
the world is in a fucked place right now.
I mean, I don't know. When I get excited, it's like, it's hard because I do have this feeling of, like, the big joke of my art practice is just, like, I'm just working away on these, like, just completely unmarketable, insane drawings. That's what I do.
Maybe.
And I think that's... I've always thought a lot about how, like, the reason that I don't have my family's mental illness is because I basically channel all of that obsession and patterning and stuff into my work.
Yes. But in a weird way, being an artist is its own form of insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But anyway... but I feel like having, like, this, I feel like I have a direction suddenly. Like, and I also just feel like all the other things that I'm interested in doing in grad school are sort of falling away around this idea. Good. Which is really nice. Because here's the thing, you get printmaking, you get illustration, 2D, like, fucking so many things fall into, you know, it's so many disciplines. And if you add, just from my own, add a multimedia aspect to it. Like, it really does, like, focus you down a channel, down a path that is going to be, there's so many touchstones for everything else, you know, artistically that you want to be involved in, you know. What? Yes, I'm so excited. Let's go ahead and stop now. Okay. I still haven't talked about my grandpa's death. No, though, we'll keep getting to it. We'll keep coming to it. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm gonna be coming out to Phoenix more often. God, I want a cigarette really bad. I kind of quit since I've been here, and I this is actually an occasion where I think it would be completely fine to have one. Sure. I desperately wish I had a pipe. Does anybody around here smoke?